Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. Right now, we get the opportunity to jump over to Brice Kesler. He's the executive director for the Kansas Shrine Bowl. Hey, Brice, appreciate you jumping on the show here today. Talk some Shrine Bowl. I know right now you guys came out with the announcement earlier this summer about your next head coaches for 2026 that'll be taking place in Emporia for the Shrine Bowl. But for you, like, how do you attack this time of the year? What's on your plate right now?
Yeah, a lot of it, first of all, thanks for having me on the new show. I'm glad you got something going here. It's a pretty cool thing you got going, Cole. So excited to see the future of Kansas Sports Chatter and glad to be a part of it. So this time of year, a lot of it is putting just some of those pieces into place for next year's game. And, and on the sponsorship side, anybody who's been in sales and, of course, in your experience in radio selling sports and stuff, you're always selling. So just having those conversations with our corporate partners and finding new folks who want to, be a part of our philanthropy, be a part of our game and help us, make the biggest impact we can for Shriners Children's and then just putting all those little pieces together for the game, the future site and everything like that is so, I tell people it's not nearly as visibly busy, if you will. There's still a lot going on, but the timelines aren't quite as strenuous this time of year. So that's kind of nice. Get a chance to just relax a little bit, but continuing to push forward. And then, as you mentioned, get the head coaches in place and start working on our staffing and everything like that. Because as anybody who's been around it or certainly been a part of the Shrine Bowl knows, there's a lot of moving pieces to it. It's not something that you just roll out of bed one day and be like, okay, let's play the game. I mean, there's a lot that goes into planning it and making sure it's a great experience for everybody, and also making sure that we're doing everything we can to maximize the impact that we can have, not only on all the people that are a part of it, the participants, everybody, but then beyond that with the hospital.
You talk about the future side Emporia for the next 3 years, Brice. What is that selection process like when you're trying to determine where to play the actual Shrine Bowl game?
Yeah, so this is a new, a new era for the Shrine Bowl to play in the same location on consecutive years. That's never happened. It started out, there was kind of a set rotation, and then it kind of went more of a bid process where cities would put in, their bid to bring the Shrine Bowl to their city, and that still is kind of, I guess, the process, if you will. But a lot of it just comes down to things have gotten really difficult finding mutual dates that work. Everybody is so busy. These college campuses are busy hosting events, cities themselves, bringing in different events, trying to find those mutual dates that work for us, our organization, the timeline that we have to work with to fit in our game. It has tightened up considerably. The college calendar has really tightened up on these athletes who are going on to play at the next level, and what schools are able to do, colleges are able to do in terms of bringing guys in and starting preseason camps and starting those practices. That continually seems like it gets moved up earlier and earlier, which that makes an impact on us when we have a lot of these guys who are going on to play the next level. And so when they're expected to be on their college campuses now, earlier and earlier, that impacts our ability to keep them in our game. And the Acacia calendar, it seems like it moves further back. So there's a very tight window to try and play the game in, and then finding mutual dates with cities. So really the process is a lot of that, just figuring out what works, when it works. From our perspective with the Emporia deal, kind of trying this new set 3-year thing, playing it on the 4th Saturday of June, trying to get some regularity to when the game is played. The where is obviously going to be a little bit regular now as well the next several years. But a lot of it is finding that date that you can put on the calendar and just kind of know, hey, this is when the Shrine Bowl is going to be played. When it started out, it was played late July. We're talking like last weekend in July. And anybody who's familiar with the way college football is and stuff now, that's certainly not an option anymore to play the last weekend in July. Everybody, we'd have no players left, or certainly no players who are going to go on and play at the next level anyway. And so just there's a lot of pieces, and then that's just finding dates and those kind of things, and then the logistics that go into it, dorm space, hotel space, all the things that are required to play the game. And our camps have only grown and grown and grown, which is a great thing. Our rosters themselves have grown even within the last half dozen years. They've gone from mid 30s on each roster to now we're at 44 players on each roster. And then you've got the cheer camp that, is pushing 200 cheerleaders plus, 20, 25 or so coaches with those cheer teams each year. And the band camp, which is in that, 180 or so kid range right now. And those keep getting bigger. And there's a lot of beds that are needed on a campus to house those kids. We've got to have, the dining services that can accommodate that many kids and accommodate it in a timely fashion, getting them in, getting them out of the dining halls, feeding them and practice facilities for all those kids. So there's so many logistics that go into it to try to find that right fit. There's a lot of places that can work, but then it's not just about in a vacuum being able to work. It's also about making sure that every one of those pieces do work on a limited timeline kind of a situation, and trying to find mutual dates. So we're excited to be going to Emporia. We were just there a couple of years ago, and it was an awesome awesome game. The campus there really fits what we need very well when it comes to, like I said, accommodating all those kids in dorms and the dining hall and just the space to make it all work. And of course, the facilities there, Welch Stadium, and the improvements that they have, continually to put into that facility are top notch. And so we're really excited to be back there in Emporia and play the next 3 games there, and then we'll see what the future holds after that. Certainly it's not the closing of anything. It's just that's the next 3 years, and we'll see. We certainly enjoy the ability to be able to visit different cities across the state, and that's something that we hope to continue to be able to do. And it just might be in a little bit of a different form, a different fashion, and we'll go from there. And we've got the other events with the Shrine Duels, the wrestling event that we'd started as well, and so that being an event that we've held in Wichita the last couple of years. And my wheels are always turning. What could be next? So who knows? Maybe there's something else coming down the line as well, and that allows us to get additional cities involved in other ways. So it's a fun process. It's a stressful process sometimes, and it takes a lot of people being on the same page to make it all work.
Well, you alluded to a lot of the things that you guys either expanded or added over the last few years. So hats off to you and just your staff and the Shriners for continuing to grow. How important is that for you? You mentioned like the wheels always turning for you, Brice. Like, how important is it to make sure you continue to grow this? Because it's already successful, but you guys just keep adding to it.
Yeah, well, honestly, that's the most important thing, in my opinion. And that's because that allows us to continue to share our philanthropy with more people. The wrestling event, for instance, there are a lot of crossover. There are a lot of athletes who wrestle who also play football. So they may still get an opportunity to have participated in the Shrine Bowl potentially. But of course, there's the girls wrestling as well. And not that some of them couldn't be cheerleaders and experience it in that form as well. But you get to introduce what we do, why we do it to a whole new audience. Different families that otherwise would have never maybe known what the Shrine Bowl is about. A lot of people understand when they think of the Kansas Shrine Bowl, they think of the football game,
Sure.
And that's warranted. Obviously, that's kind of the showpiece of it, if you will. But there's so much more, the saying more than a game, which people hear a lot of times when it comes to the Shrine Bowl, and are saying, for the kids. And that's not necessarily for the kids playing in the football game. That's for the kids that the game is helping, right? The philanthropy behind the Kansas Shrine Bowl. So being able to spread the awareness as well. The money that the event raises is great. And that's something that people, I get, that draws the attention maybe is, how much money was the event able to raise and donate to the hospital system? And I don't want to downplay that. That's certainly an important aspect of being able to make an impact. But it's also the awareness piece that is, perhaps just as big of an important impact that we're able to make is raising awareness for Shriners children, so that there's a family out there who has a child that could benefit from services from Shriners Children's, or maybe it's not even their child. Maybe it's somebody within their family, or just a friend's family, just somebody in their community. And the more people that understand about the hospital system and how to get connected and how to get referred to Shriners Children's, and then understand what those guys with the silly red hat on is what most people think of a Shriner, the fez, and what those guys are doing, why they are out there in their communities, and to be able to approach them and say, hey, I've got a kid who who might benefit from these services, or I know a family that might be able to benefit from what you guys do and the money you raise and the trips that those Shriners, those hospital dads, as they're called, constantly taken to St. Louis and Galveston and all these places to get children and families the care that they need, that they may have otherwise never been able to have access to. So being able to continually spread awareness for what our events are about and why we do what we do is critically important. And so the more avenues we can find to reach people is very important. And that's why adding events like wrestling and adding whatever may be next down the pipeline are very important to us.
Brice, keep up the good work. We'll be checking in with you later on in the year.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. I'm excited to see where Kansas Sports Chatter goes and grows. Off to an excellent start. And anytime you want to talk a little Shrine Bowl or anything else, I'll be happy to join you, Cole.
We'll be hitting you up. Brice Kesler, the executive director for the Kansas Shrine Bowl. We'll have more of Kansas Sports Chatter right after this.